New Delhi, too, is worried about the situation in West Asia. Top American lawmakers visited India. They were here to discuss bilateral issues. Inevitably, the war in West Asia came up.
I think what's happening in West Asia, Middle East, to you folks, that I think is a very big concern right now.
That's the Indian External Affairs Minister with his American counterpart, Antony Blinken. Later in the day, they were joined by the defense ministers, Rajnath Singh from India and Lloyd from America. The occasion was the 2+2 dialogue. This is an annual affair. The format gets its name from its 4 participants, the defense and foreign ministers from India and the United States, hence 2+2. The first meeting happened in 2018. The practice has continued since then. Last year, America hosted this meeting, so Rajnath Singh and Jaishankar flew to Washington for it. This year, it was India's turn to host. And since Israel's war is intensifying, it had to figure in the talks. Blinken has been on a long tour these past few days, first across West Asia and then to the east. Before landing in New Delhi, he was in Japan and South Korea, trying to build consensus, to gain support for the American position in this war. Here in India, he praised New Delhi's support to Israel.
We appreciate the fact that from day one, India strongly condemned the attacks of October 7th. And as our joint statement makes clear, India and the United States stand with Israel against terrorism.
Although India's support is more nuanced, India has red lines and it has spelled them out. India condemns the terror attacks on Israel, but it also wants a diplomatic resolution to the crisis, direct negotiations for a 2-state solution. India has once again called for a viable state of Palestine, something that the US too advocated for recently. The Biden administration has softened its position. Israel's relentless bombing and the resulting civilian casualties have put Joe Biden on the back foot. He's coming under fire at home. Critics say he failed to keep Israel in check. India too has condemned the civilian casualties today. So West Asia was high on the agenda. But there were other talking points too, like the defense ties, the collaboration in space and technology, the Indo-Pacific, even the war in Ukraine. All of this was discussed. And that's what makes these meetings crucial, because the US is a dominant player in geopolitics, also a permanent member of the UN Security Council, and India is a rising power, also a key consensus builder on the world stage, especially after the G20 summit in September. So what India and the US think today could shape the global thinking tomorrow. And one thing that they're both thinking about is China, specifically China's activities in the region. Washington is nudging New Delhi to do more. The US wants India to take a bigger role, become a leader, a leading security provider in the Indo-Pacific.
We're integrating our industrial bases, strengthening our interoperability, and sharing cutting-edge technology. The scope of our cooperation is vast.
But India alone cannot tackle these challenges. It needs support, and America is more than willing to provide it. Today, both sides discussed a roadmap, a plan to fast-track technology cooperation in defense and co-produce important military equipment. Some areas have been identified for this, like intelligence gathering, surveillance, and munitions.
Our teams are working on the substantive outcomes. Our strategic convergence should guide us to new domains and expand the scope of collaboration. We are charting new pathways of cooperation by pursuing a stronger defense industrial engagement, easing of technology restrictions, resilient supply chains in all domains, and maritime security.
India and the US are deepening defense ties, but some differences remain, like the issue of Khalistan. Today, Antony Blinken weighed in on the Canada row. Reports say he discussed it with Jaishankar. They talked about the death of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Khalistani terrorist. Canada is investigating this death. It blamed India for it, but they're yet to provide proof. Today, Blinken reiterated his old demand. He said India should cooperate with Canada on the investigation. India's response? Canada should first show proof of India's role. In fact, New Delhi also raised its own concerns about the pro-Khalistani activities in Canada. Remember, Justin Trudeau has been pushing America to confront India over this, but his appeals got no traction in Washington. So expect the Americans to keep making such statements every now and then. It's part of their whole strategy to keep their allies in play, but also in check.